What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Isaac, aka The Baddest, and every once in a while for the last few months I've mentioned FNAF Plus. My most recent blow-up video was a lot about FNAF Plus, and I've been saying that I'm pretty excited for it. The gameplay hasn't been represented that much, so I can't say as a game I really know that much about it yet, but all of the assets and teasers thus far I've thought looked really cool, and I've been pretty excited for this project. And today I'm going to be talking about the image teasers. The video teasers are amazing, and there's so many of them, so it would take a lot more time to thoroughly analyze those, but I definitely would like to at some point, so let me know if you think I should. Or at least some of the specific ones. Like, I think it's number 4 on the FNAF Plus channel. I don't know, one of them I think especially stands out. But anyway, we're going to be talking about the FNAF Plus teasers. I'm just going to go over all of them, the image ones, so let's just get into this. The first teaser is pretty simple. This definitely gives me a nostalgic feeling with how much it represents the 2014 era of Five Nights at Freddy's. It's pretty dark and simple, so I don't have a whole lot to analyze, but I decided to brighten the image to see if there were any hidden secrets, but there aren't really. You can see a little bit more of Freddy's model, but you can notice a small thing in the top left corner. It does kind of look like a mistake, honestly, but I think that's actually meant to be Foxy's hook. With how mysterious this teaser is, I'd assume the red eyes and Freddy are just in front of a solid black background, so I don't know how there could be an accidental shape in the corner, but at the same time, I don't have much evidence to back up any sort of theory. So let's move on to the next one. We have a full look at Freddy's model. Freddy has some new drip with a pair of black pants and a black jacket. His top hat also has a red stripe now. Comparing this to the original Freddy model, it obviously doesn't have the same nostalgia or significance or iconic status, but I do see this as an upgrade personally. I think some people don't really like how square the head is or how much it looks a little more blocky and less fluid, but honestly I think that just makes it a little more realistic, and I think the first Five Nights at Freddy's is really good because of how realistic it is a lot of the time, and I think this model does look more like something that would exist in reality. And just so you guys know, I did edit this picture as well and just couldn't find anything. So let's move on to the Bonnie and Chica models. Jesus fucking Christ, these are terrifying. Again, I find it so amazing that these models didn't sacrifice realism for horror. These absolutely look like they could have existed at the peak of this type of kids' entertainment. Bonnie is sporting a new pair of purple trousers, and Chica's got herself a new pair of pants and a bow. I actually think these subtle design choices were a good decision, because they make them look a little more kid-friendly, despite their horrificness. It gives them a little bit more color, and Chica's cupcake is now dressed up as a little chef. They have cute designs for kids on paper, but as you can clearly see, they are simply terrifying when made in the real world. Bonnie's staring, unblinking eyes are just terrifying, and again, it looks pretty real. Next up, let's take a look at Foxy's new design. This is the only one that I have a bit of a problem with in terms of realism. This would never pass for kid-friendly like the others, but if we remember Pirate's Cove from the original, it had a sign that said out of service, so I'm hoping the narrative will be that Foxy is too broken to be in service, and that's why he still looks like this. Aside from that, the design is really good. It doesn't have as many changes to the character as the others, but I think it looks really high quality. When I brighten the image, we can get a better look at Pirate's Cove behind Foxy, and on the left there's also a sign that seems to say sorry we're closed or something along those lines. And brightening the image also makes it more apparent that Foxy seems to have an earring for some reason. I could be wrong, but that doesn't look like any sort of wiring or mechanism. I think Foxy just got a little more punk in this new FNAF game. Next up, we have a screen that features a poster of Freddy. This seems to be a slightly altered recreation of the West Hall in the first game. This recreation, in my opinion, looks pretty nice. It's, again, didn't add that much to the original, but I think it looks really good. I tried zooming in on the big black square because I thought it might be a screen or something at first, but the placement of the text and the knobs lead me to believe that it's just an amplifier. I also tried my best to dive deeper into all the papers in this teaser, but I couldn't get any of them to be any sort of readable, so they're likely not meant to be anything at all. I really hope FNAF Plus does have some interesting secrets because I've noticed a lack of them in the teasers, but we have yet to look at the videos, so we might do that in another video. Next, we have one of the cuter teasers. These are some recreations of the in-game Freddy and Friends plushies. Chica actually kind of reminds me of Funko's Chica plush, and I don't know if that was on purpose, but it's absolutely hilarious. What I'm intrigued by is the circles in the center of their bodies. They look like speakers, so what I'm guessing is they're meant to be plushies that speak. First of all, these should absolutely exist in life, but more importantly, I have a hard time feeling these will not be used for lore implementations in the final product. When I brighten the image a little bit, I see that below the shelf that Chica and Bonnie are on, there appears to be a gift box and what looks like a Bonnie head. And above the plushies there's another gift box and some cans, so it looks like these will be in a spare room if that is in fact a spare Bonnie head. And the top box does also remind me of the puppet, but that might be a bit of a stretch. This next teaser is a bit of a weird one, probably the weirdest. It's an alarm clock and a smaller alarm clock that seems to be designed based on frogs. The branding on the clock is Frederick's, or maybe I've never seen Frederick spelt this way, but Frederick's Tools and Timepieces. This is not a real company, nor is it anything we've ever seen in the FNAF canon, so I'm assuming there will be lore behind this because there's currently no reason for there to be branding on it. Also, why do we get this at all? If I were to guess, I'd guess it's the clock that we'll have in the office that keeps track of the time. FNAF 1 to 4 all ended with some sort of clock sound. Maybe this time it'll come from this clock. If that's the case, it would have been way cooler if the time was 6 AM, but that's the most minor of minor details. Next is a recreation of the old school Celebrate poster. This is such a iconic piece in the FNAF canon that recreating it is almost daring by itself. But I will say, I think this poster looks great. Just like the original, this looks like a real poster in the universe, and it also works great as IRL merchandise. And like the other teasers we've looked at, this one actually looks even more realistic. When I brightened this image, I actually got to see a little more of the office, and honestly I'm a little skeptical of whether or not this design will be enough to stand out. Below the poster and to the right of the poster is where you can see the details. This just looks too similar to the original office for me to be really impressed by it. This is a very small look at what the game will represent, so take this all with a grain of salt, but everything we've looked at thus far has either been a really high quality recreation or a really nice redesign. This just doesn't change the original enough in my opinion, but we'll have to wait until we can see much more of the location. The next is actually a GIF, however you want to pronounce it. In the original FNAF, you can actually see Freddy's eyes in the camera after he leaves the main stage. I think this is a recreation of that. It looks like there will be a little animation when this does in fact happen. There's not a whole lot to it, but I think it's pretty cool. Brightening this one gives a better look at the background, and actually a slight look at Freddy's design. We can see his right shoulder from a higher angle, and it actually looks like the inside and the endoskeleton is fully designed underneath the suit. The background has what looks like a desk and buttons, but I couldn't tell you what that means. And the right almost looks like something dripping off the wall, but I think it's a ripped curtain or something like that. And of course there's more papers, but again I can't get them to read anything with the naked eye. Next up is a close-up of Foxy. I don't know where this would take place in the game, and I don't really have much to comment on here. I did brighten this image, and yep, Foxy definitely has an earring. The next teaser is a ball pit and an arcade machine. This just gives us a little more of a look at the location, and there is a Helpy reference on the arcade cabinets, which you always love to see. When I brightened this one, I was actually able to see that Bonnie was the theme of this arcade machine. I'm assuming this was just hard to see because the room is actually dark, because I don't know what significance this would hold that's so great it's worthy of being a secret in the teaser. Maybe we'll actually be able to play this game and Bonnie will be prominent and it'll reveal some lore? That's a grand assumption, but it's a bit weird that, of all things, this was hidden in the shadows. Next we have a teaser of these cute little figures. Once again, works in-game but should also exist in real life. There's not much to say about this, but I do like the look. I will say none of them have their new outfits, and that makes it look a bit wrong in this game's canon, but I guess the lack of legs made clothing difficult. I thought the shadow next to Chica might be a secret at first, but it's just the angle of the shot that's causing Chica's shadow. This does also remind me of the little figures we see in FNAF 3, but that's probably meaningless. And the final image teaser, to my knowledge, is the supply closet. It's a somewhat basic teaser, but I actually really love this one because it has some details that I appreciate. First of all, the frog clock from earlier is in a box along with what looks like a purple lunchbox and a Freddy branded drum, I think? This could disprove my theory on the clock from earlier, but I still find it weird that there would be a teaser just for the clock. My other theory, based more on this teaser, is that this clock belonged to a missing child. Because, as we can also see, there's a chart keeping track of the lost and found, and that is right next to a torn missing person poster. These aren't inherently connected, but lost and found in the FNAF universe can hold many meanings. But also, again, since there are things in the Lost and Found, and there are lost children, that does seem like a good opportunity to explore some lore. The missing person poster is missing the picture, and that's it. What a coincidence. Well, we obviously have a good idea of who this is meant to be. It's possible that Fiznom will design FNAF Plus to have an entirely different canon than the official FNAF series, but I'd assume this is alluring to William Afton, unless it's just meant to be a missing child. There's also some Freddy Fazbear's pizza boxes on the side, which are kind of cute. It's a small detail, but it's now rare to see Freddy's be treated like an actual pizzeria. The Lost and Found poster is Helpy on it once again, which I like. I just like the reference. And this vacuum looks exactly like Mr. Hugs from FNAF 6 and UCN, and I doubt that's a coincidence. I'd be shocked if the last few things I mentioned are implemented into any lore or story, but I like the references. That's going to be all for this video. Those are all of the FNAF Plus image teasers that I'm aware of. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of FNAF Plus thus far. Are you excited for it? What do you think of the new designs and stuff like that? That's going to be all from me. Thank you for watching once again, and I will see you guys next time.